Hello, my name is Frank Christensen and I'm the coordinator of officials for IFAF in Europe. In today's training tape, we're looking at clock management. So we'll have a look at some different plays where officials either do or don't do a good job of managing the game clock and the play clock. And we'll discuss how we can improve on this. So let's dive straight in and have a look at some game film. In this first play, we're looking at the back judge and his finger whistle. Now, off the bat, I'm not a big fan of finger whistles, and here's why. We're going to have a play, as you'll see, where the back judge has a flag. So he throws his flag, and then he needs to stop the clock and whistle at the same time. But instead, of course, because of the finger whistle, he can only do one thing. He's whistling, and then afterwards he's stopping the clock. So if you have a finger whistle, if you want to keep your finger whistle whenever you need to signal and whistle, you have to figure out a way to remove your finger from the whistle so that you can do both at the same time. And if you can't, move to a whistle with the lanyard so that you can whistle and signal at the same time. Part of clock management is recognizing the play. So when we have a situation like this, where the defense actually intercepts the ball, we need to be able to recognize this, and the umpire does a good job here of stopping the clock. The back judge, not so much. But we need to be able to recognize this. So even though we have another key, maybe we don't see the ball being intercepted here, if we look at all the players, all the red players, in the video here, they turn around and start blocking. Now that they only do that if they have the ball. So we have to be able to, regardless of what key we're looking at, to recognize this and know that this is a turnover and we need to stop the clock after this play. Here's an example, in this case from the back judge, of how to signal to the referee that the clock is going to start on the ready for play. And this can be done by all the deep wings, all the deep officials, the two wings, anybody who has this knowledge can do this signal, and the referee will appreciate it. And you don't have to have eye contact with the referee. You can be counting the defense, you can be picking out your keys, you could be doing all other things while you're doing this signal, and then once the referee blows his whistle or makes the ball ready for play, then you can take it down. You don't have to actually have eye contact with the referee, but the referee will always appreciate this help. On this play, we're looking at the deep wing who has the game clock, and he's got a flag, but the runner also goes out of bounds. And right there, he starts to signal stop the clock, and then he realizes, or he signals, and then he realizes he also has to stop the clock on his wrist. And it's really just a matter of getting into a habit of controlling your wristwatch before you do the signals, and sometimes it also happens when you do a touchdown signal and you realize that you have to stop the clock while you're doing the signal. So really it's a habit thing, getting into the habit of doing the clock first and then doing the signal afterwards. On this play, we're looking at the two sideline officials, and in 98% of the time, it'll be the wing responsibility to have the out of bounds spot. Here, runner clearly goes out of bounds. The question is, was progress stopped in bounds? We can't really tell from this angle with 100% certainty, and so the deep wing can't either. But we've got a situation here where the short wing is winding the clock, maybe because he had progress stopped inbounds, and we've got the deep wing killing the clock. So as a good rule of thumb, as a good habit to get into as a deep wing, don't ever be the first to stop the clock. Always leave it to the wing to decide if the clock is to be stopped or not. And that will give us the best coverage out of bounds and the best clock management in those situations. In comparison, we have on this play a situation where the quarterback goes for the sideline, very, very close to the sideline, where he slides. Is he inbounds? Is he out of bounds? We really don't know. This is up to the wing to decide. But we also have a deep wing that's coming down here to cover out of bounds, but he doesn't stop the clock. He does a good job of leaving that to the short wing. So here we've got a good example of a deep wing who doesn't take on too much. Here's a good example of putting into your pre-snap routine that it's 4th and short. So after 4th down, we know we're stopping the clock because it's going to be a first down to one of the teams. And here we've got 4 referees, or 4 officials at least, in the frame, and all 4, as soon as the play is over, everybody's stopping the clock. So there's a good job of doing your mechanics, and I would bet that the way to do that is putting into your pre-snap routine that regardless of what happens after this play, we're killing the clock. Good job by this crew. On this play, we're looking at primarily the play clock management, and a couple of things to notice here. Late in the second quarter, less than a minute to go with all the rules that apply here. 3rd down and the line to gain is the B5. So we'll notice the play actually results in a first down. He's now crossing the line to gain, and the wing correctly kills the clock. Now the 2 other officials here, the deep wing and the back judge, they certainly could repeat this signal so that we have that under control. But have a look at the play clock, which is almost a hit behind the photographer behind the end zone. It is still at 40 seconds. It should have been running now. It's still at 40 seconds, and I very much doubt right there it starts on the referee's wind, which is incorrect. Now I very much doubt that this was the first time this happened in the first half. So whenever we can, first of all, let's make sure that we get a good instruction to these clock operators before the game, and then keep an eye on them during the game so that we can fix this early on, and maybe during a timeout or something, get word to the clock operators that this needs to be done correctly, because as we'll see from the next clip, this was not a one-time situation. So after a timeout for Team A, here's the next play from the same game, and as you'll notice, the 25-second clock is not running, and it doesn't start to run until the ball is snapped. So again, the management of the play clock is incorrect, and so this is not something they just started. It probably has been like this the entire first half, and we need to be able to catch this as officials so that it's run properly and correctly, especially here at the latter stages of the half. So it just goes to show that clock management sometimes seems like a small issue, and it seems like an easy issue, but if we don't have control over it, then it turns into a problem, and we need to, all the way around the crew, be aware of clock management so that we can do it correctly. And that was the training tape on clock management. I hope you found something you can use on the field.